So hello everyone and welcome to another lab session. So this today we'll be talking about angles, how we're gonna do an exercise about it, and how to normalize an angle, and um, how to look at an angle through the clock orientation. So that'll be our exercise for today. So before we start, is there any questions from the last session? Do you have any questions? Like anything about angles from the last session? The asynchronous session, I mean. Let us carry on with our exercise. So uh if you open yung quizzes nyo in the big sky, there should be exercise 2-3, the clock orientation. Can anyone verify if it is there? Kita na naman. Okay. So this will be our session for today. It's all about angles still. Okay? So, ito yung question. So, usually, angles start from the x-axis, right? So, usually here. You start here, and our angles go counterclockwise, right? However, say in clock, imagine a clock, it starts at the y-axis. It starts here. Our clock starts from the y-axis and then moves clockwise. Now, I want you guys to provide a formula which converts our usual angle to clock angle. So again, we usually start here, right? We're usually the x-axis, we go counterclockwise. So if you do 60 degrees, 60 degrees is here because it started from the x-axis. Oops, not 30, 60 degrees. Or if we go 150, we go 150 degrees starting from the x-axis, and then our 150 degrees is here. What I want is, if I say 30 degrees, I want to start from here, we end up here. I want this to be 30 degrees. Or if I say 100, 220, I want to start from here. That is past 180, 220 is around here. I want this to be 220. Okay? So given an angle x, what can we do to x para ang resulting angle will be based on the uh, the clock orientation? So if I say like example kasi kanina may nalito. Let's say 60. Let's say it's supposed to be 60 degrees. But if you were trying to compute it through the using the clock orientation, I want our answer to be 30 degrees instead. Or I mean 60. Hold on. Yeah, tama. If I say 60, I want it, sagot natin will be 30 instead. So the hint here is starting from the x-axis, um, One is we have to try to make our angle to go the clockwise orientation instead of the counterclockwise. That's one clue. Our second clue will be we're not starting in the x-axis anymore. We want to start on the y-axis. Alright. So I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to get this part lang. Try to solve na give you a formula na it will be the clock orientation. So again, if I say 20 degrees, let's say this is 20 degrees. I want that in the clock orientation, it is actually 70 degrees. Okay, that's what I want. Or let's say 120 degrees, right? So this is 120. I want to get the clock orientation. So that should is our clock orientation. Our answer should be 270. I know. Tama ba yun? 120. 330 pala. Is x the angle? Yeah, x is the angle. Uh, x is the angle. So what is the formula so that if I give an angle, it will become the clock orientation of it? Or the clock angle, I mean. Can we use if statements? No, we cannot use if statements. We are not programming. So you just give me a formula instead. We'll discuss the answer ng 9:59. 1 minute. Try to solve it. Again, this is a exercise lang. You guys don't have to um, try to get everything right. It's just for you to practice And later on naman, it will still be perfect in your grades. Okay? As long as you guys submit this right away. So the angle is facing the other way. Yes, correct. Angle is facing the other way. So instead of our usual being starting from here, right? The clock goes clockwise. And you have to find that one. The angle, this one. So if I say I want, given I have a 200, this is 200 degrees. In the clock angle, it is only what's this? 90, 180, 250? Is that 250? Hold on. Yeah, 250. All right, game. So we have multiple answers here. So for 450 minus x, and we have also 360 minus x plus 90. Close. I think this is close. This one, 360. This is also actually pretty close. 450 minus x. So in order to solve this, we can actually break down the problem into smaller parts. Our first problem is um, instead of starting in the x-axis, we should be starting in the y-axis. That's our first problem. Oops, sorry. Our second problem here is the rotation, because our traditional rotation is counterclockwise, right? Our traditional is counterclockwise, but what we want is clockwise, right? So let me just clear this up. Ooh. Now, let us start with the different starting point. Remember that our goal is to start at the positive y-axis. What we only know is the traditional orientation, which is in the 0 degrees right here. So what should we do to our angle so that instead of starting from the x-axis, we start in the y-axis? What is the offset? 90 degrees, correct. Correct. We have a 90-degree offset right here. So our offset, we should have a plus 90. So x plus 90, what happens is if I say 30 degrees, we have 30 degrees, right? So originally, this would have been our 30 degrees. But since we offset it by 90, instead of starting here, we start here now. That is 30 degrees. So all in all, 30 plus 90, that will have been 120 degrees. Same thing if we go higher, above like 150. So usually 150 would have been here. This is 150. But since we offset it by 90, we now start here. This is 150. And this whole thing should be 150 plus 90, 240. Okay? So that's one thing we got out the starting point. Next, the orientation, not the rotation, I mean. Since the angle rotates clockwise, the clock angle rotates clockwise, which is the inverse of the yung usual natin na counterclockwise. What we should do is use the inverse proportion. Because if you remember, let's say this is 30 degrees, our inverse of this is simply negative 30. We have gone, we have the same angle, but it is the opposite way. So kahit na 100 degrees, let's say this 100, the inverse of it is right here, 100 degrees. So in order to do that, what should we do with our angle? What do we do to our angle para it will go to the opposite way or the clockwise? You multiply it. That's correct, factorial. You multiply it by negative 1. So if we combine this together, we have negative x plus 90. So this one is almost correct because 450, if we try to limit it to just 360, so 450 minus 360, 450 minus 360, it'll be 90. It's just equal to 90 minus x. So close, right? Yeah, I thought you had to get to the same angle, but across the other side. With a 90 degree. Not sure where you're going there. What do you mean, Garcia? We have to get the same angle, but across the other side. So like here. So if I say here, dapat you did this one. I thought that the angle had to be the same one, but expressed clockwise. Uh, so you mean had to be the same one, but expressed clockwise. Parang tama naman yung ano, pag intindi mo. So instead of like 30, if you express it from here, it should have been 60. Right? This is the one that you were trying to find. Yeah, it's correct. Because if you put 30 here, negative 30 plus 90 is 60. But I think tama naman yung pagkaintindi mo. Same thing here with 360 minus x plus 90. Technically, that would be what? Negative x plus 450. And again, it's almost the same thing. You try to express this through 0 to 360. We get negative x plus 90. Same answer. Right? But there's a problem with this. We check the second question. We can get a negative angle with this formula. Or if not negative, but we can go beyond 360, which is something that we do not want to do. What we want is to only limit it to 0 to 360. Now, this one is a bit tricky in answering this, right? Because, okay, sabi ni Garcia, modulo, sabi ni Factoria, absolute value. But there's a catch there. If modulo, remember that modulo is basically the remainder of the, like, if you divide it, so this is like a remainder 2. right? But what if I introduce a negative number? And it starts to get tricky. Uh, Iba na yung bibigay ng modulo nito, right? So that's the problem with modulo. Uh, di hindi pwede natin modulo to. Absolute value. Now, if I do absolute value, the problem here is uh, absolute value is only applicable if the sign is irrelevant. But, oops, let me just clear this. If you do absolute value somewhere, oops. If you do some absolute value, chances are you might get the wrong answer. So instead of like doing na negative 30 degrees, kung na absolute value natin, that would have been like 30 degrees. And hindi na yun tama. Kasi ang sagot ng negative 30 would have been around here, which would be 330 degrees, right? So that's a bit tricky. We can't use if else. We cannot we cannot just add 360 to our negative angle. Kasi what if that negative angle would have been bigger than 360, like 700? Eh di magiging negative uh, negative 4, 340. But again, we want this from 0 to 360 lang. Because it is something that we understand. 0 to 360. Actually, 359 pa nga. But anyway, this though gives us a clue. Because if we were going to limit it to 360, let's say negative 700, we could have just like made it instead of 360, it would be times 2. It would have been like plus 720, right? And this one, we know right away na 20 degrees. Kasi that is like 2 full rotations. That gives us an idea na somehow we have to use 360 somewhere and multiply it somehow that the uh that it will be greater than the given angle but within like 360 lang, or at least a multiple of 360. That is the hint. Okay, so modulo it will not work. Absolute value uh will not work. Adding 360 will not work, but somehow we could use 360 somewhere. All right, and to give you guys a clue, you need to use floor. You need to use floor somewhere in this computation. So I want everyone, I'll give you guys another 5 minutes to try to solve this. Kung may nakakuha nito, I'll give them a bonus points on their next quiz. 5 minutes. First one to answer, bonus points. Pa-type ng question. Okay, let me copy paste. Yeah. Ito yung formula above. Ayan, I think this is a pretty complicated question. But it's actually quite It's a nice formula that they use here. And that could be very useful later on in your programming classes. Another hint, di ba sabi, nakasabi natin, uh, modify the formula so the result is always positive. Uh, don't try to dwell too much in that formula. Let's just simplify it now. That will be an angle. So somehow you just have to try to normalize your angle to be within 0 and 360. So 2 minutes? I don't know, 3 minutes left. Fernandez, uh, no. Mali yan, mali yan. If you do that, um, pabalik naman yung rotation ng angle natin. Tapos, you start on a -90. So instead of starting here, ginawa mo na start tayo dito and we're going the other way around. We are now looking at a clock that is opposite. So 12 natin yan dito. And then, it's mirrored pa. Absolute value, -x plus 90. Floor, -x modulo 360. Absolute value of -x plus 90. Okay, okay. Sige, you guys answer that pa rin. Pero, I'll just show you why it's not absolute value. So we have -x plus 90 again, right? If I do 120, x is 120. So that will be -x plus 120. That is -30 right here. Itong part na to is -30. Yung absolute value natin, andito na. Ito na yung 30 natin. Which is not the answer. Kasi andito tayo. Ang sagot dapat nito would have been like a whole rotation. Which would be 330. Okay. I think that's 5 minutes. So no one gets bonus points. But then I know what, I don't blame you. It is a bit complicated. Itong tanong na to. Close though. You are very close. Okay, fine. Sige, sige. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes. Close si Garcia. Kapit na yan. Again, you can't use modulo. Not can't, but modulo medyo wouldn't work here. Wala tayong square root. If you square, okay. Sorry. The square root of -x plus 90 squared. You technically just remove the square. We end up with x plus 90. -x plus 90. Lapit Garcia. Very close. Di pa rin, di pa rin. 1 minute, 1 minute. Uh, Ralph, 90 minus X. 270 plus X. No, no, di pa rin, di pa rin. 30. What is it? Let's give an sample. If I say 30 degrees, 19 minus 30 would have been 60. And then 270 plus 30. No, 0. 90, 60. If I give 120, 90 minus 120 would be negative 30. Then you have floor. The floor of 390 over 360 is just equal to 1. You end up with negative 31. Okay. Super close talaga si Garcia. 360. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's break it up. So using floor, remember that floor. See floor, it is the closest integer, the closest integer na the lowest. So if I say floor 1.99, you still get 1. Or floor 3.75, you get 3. Garcia 360. Hold on, wait lang. Yeah, 360. So close. 360 minus 360. Hindi. Oh, wait. Negative 360. Nope. Oh, balik. So, pero, paano kung floor is negative 0.5? What is the answer here? What is floor of negative 0.5? Anyone? Tama. Negative 1. Again, floor gets the lower integer. So the lower integer of negative 0.5 would have been negative 1. Same thing with floor negative 3. Let's say 3.001. That would have been negative 4. Yeah. Walang absolute value. Okay? So, given that thing, what you want is to get complete rotations. What does that mean? If I give a rotation of let's say rotation of 720. If you try to get the nearest complete rotation to it, that is 720 over 360, because there's a 360 per rotation. You get, joke lang, wag 720. 700 over 360. The closest rotation to this is, well, this would have been 1 point something. The answer to here would be 1, right? So you got that part right. So given that the angle over 360 will give our closest complete rotation na pababa, na the closest lower rotation, if we can multiply it by we can multiply this by 360. This will give our closest rotation. So even if I give 390, our closest rotation will be 360. If I give 30, 30 over 360, that would have been 0 point something. Closest integer in the floor would have been 0. 0 times 360. Our closest would have been 0. Okay, okay. Now, finally, we subtract this expression from yung angle. And this is our answer. This is your answer. Why? Okay, I'll give negative 30. Let's say negative 30, right? Negative 30 minus, what is the floor of negative 30 over 360? That would have been negative 1, right? So negative 30 minus negative 1 times 360. Negative 30 minus negative 360. We distribute the negative. 360 minus 30. 330. Would there be a plus 1 since if the angle is below 360? If the angle is below 360. Yeah, same thing. Okay, balik. Anything 360. Okay, let's go 270. Nag-stop na mag ano. 270. Oops, pangat. 270 minus, what is the floor of 270 over 360? That is 0 point something. That would have been 0 times 360. 270. Oh my god. 270 minus 0. You have 270. Wait. Hold on. Garcia? Hold on. Wait. Kailan yan? Tama si Garcia. Because that is the same thing. X minus 360. X minus 360 floor x over 360. Same thing. It's the same. It's just like moving this to the other side. No, you're correct. Oh. Tama si Garcia. No. Well, technically you did say it already. X minus 360 floor x over 360. That's correct. Man, si Garcia gets bonus points. So tama si Garcia. It is the same thing as what he said. X minus 360 floor. That's just the same thing as this. Because again, no matter, when it comes to multiplication division, kahit anong placement mo, it would have been the same thing. Unless it's addition and subtraction, then iba na yun. So, okay. Garcia gets some extra points for next quiz. But anyway, back to here. Yeah. If I give above 360, 720. So no, not 720. 860. 860 minus the floor of 860 divided by 360. Let's say calculator. Calculator, 860 divided by 360, 2.38. The nearest is 2. 2 times 360. We have 860 minus 720. You get 140. So now it is within 0 and 360. No matter what angle you give, no matter how big that angle is, either negative or positive, makakuha nito. It will normalize with this. Without, and maganda nito is we don't even use if-else statements for this. Kung nalaman ko lang to noon, I would have used it. Very useful kasi yung when it comes to angles and rotations in the game dev. Okay? Now, any questions? No questions here? Ayan, so that's what Garcia gets. He gets the right answer, he starts lagging. Oh my god, took me a while. Okay. If there's no other questions, let's go to the second part. So a clock has an internal angle of 360 degrees. Every 12 hours, the hour hand completes one revolution around the clock. Determine the current location of the hour hand degrees in degrees where the 0 degrees is nasa 12 o'clock na and the 3 o'clock is 90 degrees. So you don't have to do this whole fiasco of x minus negative 19 minus x. No. Negative x plus 90. Yeah, we don't have to do that anymore. Sabi niya, we start. Oops. Hold on. Let me just edit everything. Then black. Okay. So, start na tayo dito. We'll be starting on the 12 o'clock. Find the angle of the hour hand. Alright. So, this will be our orientation pattern. Do the clockwise. We have to find the angle of the hour hand given the hours and minutes. Create a formula to find that degree sa hour hand. So a hint. So there are the whole clock is 360, right? And there are 12 hours. There are 12 hours on the clock. So how many degrees are there per hour? Close. Tama, 30. There are 30 for every hour. There's a 30 degree. But the question is, we have minutes pa. So give me an equation where given that hours and minutes, it will give the angle of the hour hand. I'll give you guys another 5 minutes. Or, yeah, 3 na lang. 3. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Let's go with 5 minutes. So given H and M, solve for the angle of the hour hand. We'll discuss the answer ng 10:30. 7. Yeah. Zero, if I give you like 30, about 30 hours, 30 times hours plus 6 times minutes. Eh kung 30 minutes ko, if I said 30 minutes, would that give the right angle of the hour hand? Oh, you can't see the stream? Can I wait, hold on. Can everyone see the stream? Besides Garcia, is anyone else having a problem? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, no, it's not a blank MS Paint. What if I change this to better text readability? Ayan. Is it still a blank MS Paint? Yes, yeah, that's correct. So you guys have to solve for the angle of the hour hand given the hours and the minutes. All right. I think we can start now. So given nga that the each hour you have 30 degrees, and we got that because in 360 degrees there are 12 hours. We get 30. So every hour we have 30 degrees. Next, yung minutes natin. Now minutes, uh, the hour hand moves slightly every minute. And since there are 60 minutes in an hour, technically the hour hand moves 1/60th of the of that 30 degrees every minute. So let's say 30 degrees. If I gave 30 degrees, it would have moved only 15. Ay, sorry. If there are 30 minutes, it would have moved only ng 15 degrees. Right. So how does it look like? Uh we can rephrase this as the hour hand moves 30 degrees every 60 minutes. So 30 over 60. This would have been 0.5. So for every minute 0.5 degrees would have moved in the hour hand. Oh no, 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 let's not put up the floor. So there's no floor here, there's no floor here. Basically, this is our answer right here. For 24 hours. So ito yung sagot natin. 30 plus 0.5 minutes. 30 hours plus 0.5 minutes. This is how we get the angle of the hour hand. Because again, every hour would have been 30 degrees and every minute would have been 0.5 degrees. And how we got that, there are 60 minutes in an hour. And again, 1 hour is 30 degrees. We get 0.5 minutes per 0.5 degrees per minute. Pero we, like I said before, some people will look at this in another way, and that is normal. So let's clear this up. We can choose to have only one unit at a time. So we can convert the minute value into hour value. So for example, diba, 1.5 hours would have been 1 hour and 30 minutes. How did you get 30 minutes? 0.5 times 60. That's how we got the 30 minutes. So how does it look like? H plus M divided by 60. So if you try this out again, 1 hour, 30 minutes would have been 1.5. Or 1 hour and 20 minutes would have been 1.3. For 20 minutes, 1 over 3. Yeah, 1.33333. Right? So we already know though that each hour is 30 degrees. So we can just simply multiply 30 degrees here. We end up with 30 H plus 30 M over 60. Or in other words, 30 H plus M divided by 2. And again, 1/2 is just equal to 0.5. And you get the same thing. We get the same answer. Okay, okay? Gets naman? So if you say 1 hour and 30 minutes, let's say it is 9 minutes and 9 hours and 30 minutes. That would have been 9 times 30. That is 270. Right? That is 270. That is somewhere here. Oh, wait. Yeah, tama. That would have been somewhere here, right? 270. Pero may 30 minutes pa tayo. 30 over 60. Sorry, 30 times 0.5. That would have been 15. So that's another 15 degrees. So this is 15. This here is 270. All right. A squared plus B squared plus C squared. Well, wala pa tayo nun sa triangles. Baka natuto nyo kay kay sir. Okay. Now, last question is how do we convert it? How do you convert the formula into radians? So it is just basically applying the conversion from degrees to radians. And does anyone remember how to convert degrees to radians? For every degree, there is, how do you know? Pi over 180. Tama. Correct. Buti. Everyone is actually listening. It is pi over 180. So, the easiest way to remember this is whatever is yung nasa taas, then yung kailangan mo. So, pi is always like a radian. Pi is always equal to radian. The 180, you can always think that this is degrees. Oops. Oops. You can always think of it as degrees. So, uh, if you try to convert the degrees to radians, so there would have been degrees here, cancel out, you get the radian. So all you have to do is just to apply that in your equation. That was 30h plus 0.5 m, and simply just multiply pi over 180. And that will be your answer in radians. Okay. Any questions? Now, CH, actually, we can make this even, well, given that H is only the 0 to 12 lang. But if given 0 to 24 hours, we can use modulo, right? We can use modulo 12. Given if we have more than 12 hours. But anyway, wala lang. Any questions? No questions. Let's just get plus points. No, 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 no. Mas mahirap yung mas mahirap yung kanina. Buti na may nakuha nun. I was actually surprised na may nakuha nun. I stick to my word. I will give bonus points. All right. So if there's no questions, next week we will have a quiz. This quiz is all about angles lang. You can choose to memorize or get a copy of that yung angle a while ago para within 0 to 360 lang. You can choose to get a copy or memorize that. Pero I mean, it will just help you in getting the right answer right away. It's a quiz next week. Okay. So it's all about angles next week. Angles, multiplication, yeah, rotation. Yeah, that's for next week. Is there any questions for any last no? Last na? Walang questions? Sige. So, please if do submit your itong exercise right away. I really hope that everyone submits it on time during the due date. Yung iba kasi nagsasubmit sila like days after. And yun, medyo hindi ko nakatanggap because they could have answered it during the due date. Last time, I already gave a whole day for everyone to answer it. May nagbigay pa ng 3 hours after. Which is, okay lang. Pero, kapag days after, hindi ko na patanggap. Okay? So, please do submit this exercise sa Big Sky so I can grade it. And, perfect naman to. Okay? So, if there's no other questions, you guys can go have your Friday. And take care. Ingat kayo.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.